예.
그리고 합계에서 당당하게 금메달 또 소식을 전해줬고요.
그렇습니다.
용상에서 금메달 소식을 전해줬고요.
예.
합계에서는 은메달 이렇게 금, 은, 동을 획득하였습니다.
Okay, hello and welcome back. This is the men's 102 kilo category here from the Asian Championships from South Korea, Jinju, one of the most southern parts of South Korea, and we have an extremely exciting session today. An Olympic category, it's the men's 102s. Several athletes here we haven't seen compete in a few years. One of them just on the left of our screen really there, Jinju Song from Korea. We haven't seen him compete internationally since the Olympic Games. Sorry, the World he was at the Olympic Games. He did one more competition actually since then. It was the World Championships a few months after, but we haven't seen him in, over a year and a half at this point. I'll do a quick run through of the athletes now as they've walked off the platform. So we have Lesman Paredes of Bahrain. He is surely the favorite to win this lift, this competition. Not only does he have the second heaviest total ever in this group, which maybe means that there might be a little bit of favour towards Miso Osona from Qatar because he has made a little bit more, but it's been a while. But Lesman Paredes has totaled 400 kilos. He snatched 187 kilos. That's a world record in the lighter 96 kilo category. He's clean and jerked 215 kilos. He's totaled 400. And I think maybe one of the most compelling things about Lesman winning is that that's all that he does. He has now won 7 straight international competitions. He's only stood on the podium since May 2021 at the top of the podium. Since April, in fact. He won the Pan American Championships in 2020, the South American Champs in 21, the Ibero-American Champs in 21, Pan American Champs in 22, World Championships in 21, Asian Championships in 22, and the World Championships again in 2022. So all he seems to do is win these competitions. I'm not exactly sure of the shape that he's in, but no doubt we'll find that out pretty quickly based on his opening attempt in the snatch. That is, of course, where his strength massively lies. Then we have another athlete who, hasn't put up anywhere near as much weight on the competition platform, but his training has been going sensationally well recently. It's Jang Yong-hak from Korea. He's been putting up some very large lifts, particularly in the snatch, particularly off the blocks, but it's been enormous. His training has been pretty unprecedented for him. He has snatched as much as 174 kilos in the past and clean and jerk 206 kilos. Best total of 379, so 21 kilos down on someone like Lesman Paredes, but still a very strong lifter. Then Bekdullah Razulbekov from Kyrgyzstan just seems to be going from strength to strength. He's clean and jerk 217 kilos. He's only recently started getting into the 170s in the snatch, but that's good enough in this competition to do a bit of damage. 389 kilos is his best total. He took the silver medal at the Asian Championships last year in Bahrain as a 109. Then, of course, dropped down to the 102s for the World Champs and came 4th. Next up, it's ex-Olympic champion Miso Osona, Olympic champ from, I say ex, I mean he just is the Olympic champion from Tokyo. He also won the World Championships in 2022. That's his only World Championships win, but his career is littered with gold medals as well. Asian Championships, World Champs, Olympic Champs, Qatar Cup multiple times. So it will be a massive battle really between him and Lesman Paredes. He's not as strong in the snatch, 178 is his best, but he is stronger in the clean and jerk, 228 he did as a 96 kilo lifter. Then we have maybe the most unknown athlete here in some ways. We've seen him compete several times, we've seen his training, but we just don't know if his training is going to convert to the competition platform. It's Nagisa Adilatuli from Kazakhstan. He's been so fun to watch. His progress has been incredible. In fact, he's snatched more at every single competition that he's competed in internationally than the last one. He's competed 6 times now, so his last competition he snatched 174. I mean, this guy just snatched 200 kilos off the blocks in training. He snatched 190 from the floor. And it's the same in the clean and jerk. Every single competition, he has lifted more than the previous competition, all the way up to 209 kilos, and he hit 215. I'll take a look. I mean, he may well have done 220, but I think it was 215 he's made in training as well. So he could be dangerous, particularly now that he's moved up to this 102 category, the heavier category, which he's not yet competed in. Then there's Hasan Bayev Davranbek from Turkmenistan. He's put in opening attempts of 173 and 192. Best lifts in competition are 165. He's made that twice out of his 3 international competitions, and 182 kilos in the clean and jerk. So he's going to be, well, he's put in a massive snatch. 173, but certainly in the clean and jerk, he comes out as the weakest athlete. The Turkmenistan athletes have opened very heavy recently at this competition, and we've seen a lot of bomb outs there, so we'll see how that pays off for him, opening a massive personal best. Then a familiar, a friendly face, a man we've not seen for 18 months, is Jinju Song from Korea. He took the silver medal, I believe it was it 2019? Yeah, 2019 World Championships, 181, 216. And then he's fought very hard ever since at competitions. He won the Ready Steady Tokyo event. He took the bronze medal at the Asian Championships way back in 2016, but more recently, he won the World Cup in 2019. He came second at the World Championships in 2021. He lost to one of the Iranian athletes, but he took the silver medal there. 181 is his best snatch, but he snatched 180 4 other times. He's finally gotten into the 220s. He's made that a couple of times as well in the clean and jerk. So this guy can total 400 kilos. He's clearly one of those athletes who was going to be looking to get a medal in this session. Between Jinju Song, Lesman Paredes, and Miso Sona, you'd imagine that those three fancy themselves as the medalists, but Nagisa Adilatuli will have other thoughts, as will a couple of the other athletes we still have to go through. Chempo Jen, maybe not going to get in the medals in the total or the clean and jerk, but a strong snatcher. 177 he made at the Asian Championships. Wasn't able to register a lift at the World Championships, but a strong snatcher nonetheless. But the next man, Reza Dadar from Iran, certainly is going to be looking and thinking, I could get a medal here. 177 he snatched at the World Championships. He came second in the 102s at Worlds behind Miso Sona. Then a 230 in clean and jerk, a 390 total. So I would have thought anything over 400 kilos is going to be a guaranteed medal in this competition. But who knows? These athletes might push themselves up with several people going over 400, or it will turn out that you just need a 390 to get the win. We'll have to find out what sort of shape these athletes are in. I don't know a huge amount about how their training has been going over the last few weeks. So, a few minutes now, and we will be underway. Now, as you know, we are live, of course, on YouTube. This stream is there for free, so do post any questions, any comments in the chat, and I'll take a look. I'll get to some of them and answer things as we go. In fact, I'll take a quick look now, see what the people are talking about. One of the questions is, what are your thoughts on Giga Chad? That question is by Sankey, and that is in reference to Liu Huanhua. I actually have very optimistic, might not be the right word, but I have very good thoughts of Liu Huanhua. I think he's improved tremendously since the World Championships. We saw him snatch 175, and then he weighed in at 89.4 kilos, so he was an 89 kilo lifter. If anything, he probably weighed less than some of the 89s, because most 89s would be walking around at 91, 92. He weighed 89.4, so he wasn't cutting to make the 96s, so he actually did weigh 89.4. So he's basically an 89 kilo lifter. He couldn't lift them because there were already 2 Chinese 89s. And he outlifted Tian Tao in the snatch by 10 kilos. And then in the clean and jerk, he opened at 210. And then he jumped to 223 kilos. And he took 2 shots at it. That 223 would have been a world record in the clean and jerk. And it would have been a world record in the total. He would have, if he'd made it, and he was close, he would have the #1 total. He'd be better than Carlos Nassar. He'd be better than Li Dayan. He'd be better than Tian Tao. All he needed to have done would have been 213 kilos to get a better total than Tian Tao. But in his mind, he was thinking, I'm not even looking to beat him. I'm looking to show that there is nobody in the world who can beat me. And had he not pulled, I think he pulled his shoulder or something on his opening 210, I think the first attempt at the world record, clean jerk and total at 223 kilos, 397 kilos in the total, would have, I think he might have made it. So I think he is in much better shape than we all realized, essentially. Okay, so I have really bad news. Just looking at the scoreboard. Lesman Paredes, Miso Sona have withdrawn, which is a real shame to have the two highest total athletes in the field pull out. What a disappointment. Lesman Paredes, 7 straight wins internationally. His first competition up at 102 in the new Olympic class. And he withdraws, and then Olympic champion Miso Sona pulls out as well. So the battle really, in my opinion at this point, is probably going to lie between it's Reza Dadar, it's Jinyan Song, it's Nagisa, and it's well, it's a lot of athletes actually. Rezulbekov looks good. Yang Yong-hak. I can't call this, so I think this might turn into a more competitive session in some ways. A little bit closer, a little bit more exciting. Mark Clegg just commented, I tuned in for Lesman versus Miso. Just as the news that Lesman and Miso have withdrawn from the competition. That is devastating. And a strong opener there by Rezulbekov from Kyrgyzstan. For all of you who got up extra early, just like we did, to get to this session, because they wanted to see these two athletes, I'm very sorry. It's just how it goes sometimes. You can never really control which athletes are and which athletes aren't competing. I wonder if Lesman will go to the World Cup in Cuba. I will talk with his coach after this and try and get word of when he'll most likely be competing. There's Emil Moldodasov, the 89, alongside his teammate Rezulbekov there. Emil snuck a bronze medal in the snatch in the 89s. So Michael Sy said, such a stupid rule just to show up, might as well drug test them. That is why they're there. They turn up so that they can get drug tested. I mean, it is a shame. It is a weird, sort of, it's not a gap in the rules because they were well aware of this, the IWF, when they made the qualifying for the Olympics, but they can't get athletes to compete 6 times. It's too much on the body. But having them turn up at least so they can be subjected to random doping tests, I guess, is the best way for them of trying to help clean up the sport. So, unfortunately, that's why they've just turned up. They're going to open themselves up to a drug test and head back off. Here's Reza Dadar. Look at the speed on this man. So fast under the bar. Perfect. And he's looking stronger and stronger, I feel, every time we see him. He's been competing. He's not competed a ton of times internationally, just 7. This is his 8th. But he's been doing it since 2015. Junior World Championships in 2015. He was in 94. And then he's just gone back and forth, basically, between 102 and 96 ever since 2019. A couple of times dropping down to the 96 kilo category, but he tends to always have much better performance at 102. He's medaled 3 out of the 4 times he's competed as a 102 kilo lifter. Here's Rezulbekov now, who I've always referred to as Rezulbekov, but I'm trying to make more of an effort at, I'm sure his name is probably supposed to be pronounced Rezulbekov, so that's why it might sound a little bit jarring when you hear it. But here he is, 169 kilos. This is a big second attempt for him. Sits right around where he'd normally be. Much stronger than the clean and jerk. Yeah, looks like his chest dropped a fair amount off the floor during the pull. Hips just rose, chest came down, then it became an exercise of the back more so than the legs, which he took out very early on, then didn't have the height on the bar. So Aditya Das says cool shoes. I think he's referring to Rasulbekov, who I hadn't just noticed then, but in the past he's showed me his shoes. I believe they are ZKC shoes. I think they're trialing some shoes and they handed a few out. And in fact, it might only be the Kyrgyzstan athletes who have them. Interesting conversation going on in the chat about these athletes withdrawing from an A session. I tend to agree with the sentiment that if these athletes know that they're going to pull out from competition, they shouldn't put in totals that get them into the A sessions and then withdraw, because it removes the possibility of another athlete from the B session from having been able to compete in the largest session of their lives. You know, we get used to seeing these A session athletes and thinking, well, they're there all the time. But most of the B session athletes have been there for years and have never competed in an A session. And the ability to do so, especially when it's televised and it's multi-camera and all the people show up to watch, it's special. It's a different thing. And so Lesman and Miso essentially prevented two B session athletes, like Sarab Maradi, who is obviously not a lifetime B session athlete, he's an Olympic champion, but athletes like him in the B session could have been in the A session. Final attempt now for Rasul. Something's off with Rasulbekov here. Okay, so here comes Reza Didar. Second attempt. His opener looked very strong at 166 kilos, but he's making a pretty large jump here. 6 kilos up to 172. His best snatch is 177 kilos, which he made most recently at the World Championships. So a big leap here to 172, which put him in sight of something close to a personal best, at least on his third attempt. But the fact that we're at 172 kilos and so many athletes haven't yet opened up is pretty remarkable. Oh, brilliant stuff. Does a little bit of contortion of the body to get in the right positions, but he's up with it. And astonishingly, 5 athletes are yet to open up still. And we're at 172. Jang Yeon-hak, Nagisa Adilatuli. I'll bring up the scoreboard for you to see now. Davrambak, Jin Song, and Chen Pojat. So it's going to be a big snatch session. Will we see anyone out-snatch the winning snatch from the 89s? Who knows? If anyone's going to do it, it might be this guy, Nagisa Adilatuli. His training has been somewhat unprecedented for a 102 in recent years. Of course, this was historically a non-Olympic category, so we haven't had the best performed competitions, but recently we're just seeing a massive influx of talent. There are 0 world records yet set in this category. Still all world standards. And that looked astonishingly easy. I mean, he has gone up a weight category, but even with the 6 kilos of bodyweight gain, that looked pretty comfortable for him. He was 95.9 when he competed at the World Championships. He used to be an 89. And he looked like an 89. And then he went up to 96, and he still looked like an 89. And then he went up to 102. I think he still looks like he maybe could be an 89, but his numbers are going up, so why not keep moving up in body weight? Here's Devranbek now from Turkmenistan. Tall, fast athlete. Will he follow in the footsteps of his teammates and have a bit of a wobble in the snatch?
이곳 진주 체육관으로 와서 구경해 주시면 되겠습니다.
투르크메니스탄의 하산이블 1차 시기 173.
What a great lift. Brilliant bottom position, incredible lockout, great depth for a taller athlete as well. And he is on the board. So all successful openers so far. Let's hope that Chempo Zhen now from Taipei can come out and do this as well. 173 kilos is actually a big opener for him. He is known for his snatching, of course. He's snatched over 170 kilos at his last 4 competitions where he's made a snatch, but bear in mind he has missed at 2 other competitions. He competed at the Olympic Games with a 176 snatch. And then his best ever was at the Asian Champs last year with 177, where he took the silver medal behind Lesman, who has unfortunately withdrawn from this competition, as most of you now know at this point. This is a heavy opener for him. Yeah, and a good lift. The interesting thing with Chempo Zhen is, well, he does have that very, very wide grip in the snatch. It is a little bit Gormanassian-esque in many ways. So wide, very wobbly, but doesn't have to pull the bar as high. But then in the training hall, you know, we've been to these competitions so many times and seen him training as many as 9 or 10 days out from competing. We've almost never seen him go heavy, ever. Maybe we see a 150 snatch, maybe a 190 clean and jerk as an absolute maximum. And then we always think, okay, he must be hurt, he must be injured. And then he comes out and he snatches 175 or something like that. So just an interesting taper strategy, I suppose. Okay, so this, again, another really exciting opening attempt. We have Jang Yeon-hak from Korea coming out. Of course, the hometown favourite. Normally a 96, but competing now at 102. Asian Games silver medalist. And he's just been looking so strong in training. 182 kilos he snatched. That was back in July. But then in the training hall the other day, he made 175 kilos, and now he's opening up with that same weight here. That looked very comfortable. Tiny little wobble, but he's going to get that for sure. 3 white lights. And yeah, in training the other day, he snatched 180 kilos. He missed 185 kilos behind. And then maybe the most ridiculous thing that he did, he had a little, almost like a little battle with Nagisa off the blocks. Nagisa made 200, but he made 195 kilos. Now the world standard in the snatch is 191, so someone would need 192 to get a world record. I don't think we'll see that today, but they're both snatching very well at the moment. Then here's Jinju Song, who has snatched more than all of them in competition. 181 in 2019, and then 3 competitions in a row, his last 3, he snatched 180 kilos, but it's been 18 months since we've seen him. But this sort of opener bodes very well for him. Yeah, he looks a little bit more textbook, a little bit cleaner lifting than Jang Yeon-hak. But who knows? It's not always about who looks the best when they lift. Often the most rugged lifters, the Reza Dadars or Chempo Zhens of the world, can end up with the top snatch. So only 7 athletes will actually be competing in this session. There were 9 on the start list, but with Lesman and Miso withdrawn, this could move quite quickly. And it's going to be tight. We have 5 athletes with only 1 attempt taken and another with just 2. And that other athlete, Reza Dadar, has put in another 6 kilo. He's put in an 8 kilo jump to 180 kilos, which is probably a place holding attempt. I doubt he'll take it, but I also wouldn't be surprised. We've seen the Iranians put in as much as 29 kilo jumps in this competition, so you never know with someone like Reza Dadar. 4 kilo jump now for Devranbek. And another good lift. And that's a massive personal best. I mean, he has gone up a weight category, which he had to do because this guy is so tall. He's taller than probably even any 109 as well. He's in the super heavyweight sort of height category. And he competed at 102 as a very light 102 at Worlds, weighing 98.6. He just started to move up from the 96s. But clearly the weight gain has made a huge difference. He's 12 kilos up now. Okay, Nagisa Adilatuli, 5 kilo jump to 178 kilos. This lift would be, I guess on the international platform, a big personal best for him, but we know that he's done so much more in training. 190 from the floor. It just looks so easy. It looks like if he was really pushed in the snatch by someone like Lesman Paredes, he would be able to, you know, get up into the mid, maybe even push the high 80s. But it'll be interesting because you never think of someone like Nagisa and then Jinju Song as being the same weight category, but they've just moved around. Jinju Song has at points been a 109. And then Nagisa at points has been an 89. So to see them at 102 is almost surreal. It makes it a little bit more difficult to conceptualize who's going to come out as the winner of this competition. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is one of those two. Here's Chempo Zhen, also going to take 178 kilos. Real veteran of the sport here, coming out for a personal best attempt. Of course, he's moved up a category. We've never seen him as a 102. We've only really ever seen him as a 96 and 94, and then once as a 56. Let's not forget at the Youth World Champs 12 years ago. A very small Chempo Zhen snatched 88 kilos. Wow, that is absolutely huge. I'm concerned about his left elbow, it has to be said. There may well have been some movement. What are they going to do with that one? I'd love for them to give it, but it wasn't. Let's take a look. They have given it. Good. Good, good, good. 178 kilos. That makes things even more exciting. It's a new personal best for Chen. I'd love to know what he weighed in at, because he's certainly one of the shorter athletes in the field. This is very tense. This is very exciting. A 4 kilo jump now to 179 kilos. These athletes are just trading the lead. We had a 177, 2 athletes at 178. Now we're at 179. And suddenly everyone's going to be taking third attempts at 180 or more, maybe 179. Here comes Jang Yeon Hak. He made 180 kilos in training. He's done over 180 in training. But this is definitely testing, stretching his abilities. But he's got that home crowd advantage, which may well help. Yeah, that's brilliant, and he's going to hold on to it. Wonderful stuff from Jang Yeon Hak. You know what? Sometimes you lose a couple of top athletes like Lesman Paredes or Miso Osona, but it just makes the competition even more exciting. And to be honest, part of me has to assume that the reason, at least that maybe one of them didn't compete, is because it would have been pretty tough. I mean, we've never seen Miso Sona snatch 179 kilos. He does have the biggest clean and jerk on paper, and he routinely comes back and takes the final clean and jerk and moves ahead of the rest. But maybe he knew that he was going to need... He may have known that he might have been close to 10 kilos down in the snatch and that he would need a high 220s clean and jerk, and perhaps he felt like he wasn't in shape for a high 220. And so he just chose to sit this one out. There's no need for these athletes to compete at every single competition. Okay, Reza Dardar now from Iran. This is also a personal best. It's also 179 kilos. He doesn't care about moving ahead of Daniel Hak because he's got such a strong clean and jerk. And he pulled it so quick, a little bit contorted in the catch. But he can't get up with it, and that's going to cost him dearly because these athletes are snatching so well. Yes, he's got a big clean and jerk, but he's not got a 220 clean and jerk. So that's going to be a tough place for him. And now Jinju Song. Honestly, this is like a competition of weightlifting riches. Just these athletes coming out and trading these massive attempts. It couldn't be more exciting. This is the man with the biggest competition snatch in the field, Jinju Song. And right now he's coming out at 180 kilos, which is just 1 kilo behind his all-time competition best. Absolutely enormous lift here for Jinju Song. And this will move him into the lead. Both he and 4 other athletes have 1 attempt remaining. Oh, it was right there. There was a touch of wobble, of lack of stability in the catch and in the elbows or shoulders. And then he just lost it out in front. But, you know, he can come back and take that as another attempt. We have Devranbek now at 180. Jinju Song's at 180. Nagisa and Chempo are at 181. Jangyeon Hak's put in for 183. This is really... I mean, we've never, ever, ever seen a 102 kilo category with snatches like this. We've just never had the depth, and that's what happens when you make something Olympic, finally, in an Olympic category. The talent flocks. I will say Devranbek's progress is pretty insane. Oh my word, nobody expected Devranbek to turn up and be snatching 180 kilos. Last time he competed, he clean and jerked 182 kilos. So this guy is snatching his clean and jerk. At the Asian Championships last year, he snatched 165 and clean and jerked 180. 9 months later, he's snatching 180. We'll see what he clean and jerks, but I expect that in Saudi Arabia at the World Champs, he'll be snatching whatever he clean and jerks here today if he keeps this going. Here comes Jinju Song. He just missed that 180 on his second attempt, so he's going to go for it again. And with the way that these athletes are looking, he may need this. He's got the best clean and jerk, though. He can clean and jerk 220. He's done it many times internationally. We know that he can do it if he needs it. But it's important that he makes this lift. Will make his life a whole lot easier. He probably is the favourite at this point. Based on his track record, and that is a great lift. Wonderful stuff there for Jinju Song. Yeah, I remember watching him. The first time I saw him was in 2019 at the World Champs, sitting by the platform, watching him compete, and he was going up against an athlete, someone that's going to have to remind me in the chat. He was a Belarusian lifter whose name escapes me. And the Belarusian lifter set a junior world record in the clean and jerk. If someone could jog my memory, that would be great. But I really liked watching Jinju Song lift then. I liked his technique. I liked that he was a technical lifter. He's not necessarily the strongest. And then in 2021, he had similar battle where it was just technically fantastic stuff. Oh, Yevgeny Tsikantsu, that's who it was. I got it before anyone in the chat helped me out. Okay, Nagisa Adilatili, final attempt now, 181 kilos. This for the lead in the snatch. It's a big personal best for him. He looks so strong at 178. And, you know, that looks maybe almost just as strong. There was a little bit of, you know, him having to squeeze under that one, but not really. He pulls the bar so fast. He's very quick under. It's pinpoint accuracy. We have 3 athletes with 180 kilos or more and 2 more still to come out. This is a level of competition that the best 102s in the world who maybe aren't here today. I'm talking about Lesman Predes. I'm talking about, you know, an athlete like Ruslan Nuradinov who needs to come down to 102 soon. He was going to for this competition but chose not to in the end. I'm talking about Miso Sona. They all need to look at this and realize that there might be a bit of a new order in the men's 102s with the level of snatch talent that we're seeing right now. Here's Chempo Jen. This will be another 3 kilos on what was already a personal best for him at 178. This is 181. This would be remarkable because his 178 did not look comfortable. It didn't look easy. He made it, but it was a bit of a stretch. It's going to come down to his elbows with such a wide grip. Oh my word, that's better than the second attempt. And he showed me because I thought that after that 178 he was going to be in a bad place with that, but he just turned it up a notch. He looked snappy. 181 kilos is a huge personal best. That's 4 athletes now who snatched 180 or 181. And Jang Yong-hak from Korea is going to come out with the final attempt to beat them all with 182 kilos. This 102 category is doing everything that we needed it to do now that it's gained its Olympic status. We get the best 96s in the world, like Jang Yong-hak, coming up. We get the best 109s coming down. Jang Yong-hak bombed out the snatch at the World Championships, so it's good for him to be in this position right now, going for the gold in the snatch. He's had a few international wins. The Cup of Blue Swords in 2019, Asian Junior Champs in 2017, and the World University Championships in 2016. But that was 7 years ago. He hasn't made a total in his last 2 competitions, so this home crowd comp is massive for him. £182, 400 pounds. Oh, that's it. I mean, he did everything he needed to do with that one. Wonderful lift. Absolutely incredible. 5 athletes in this session go over 180 or equal 180. That is, I mean, we've certainly not seen a 102 kilo session like this. I'm actually interested in what is the heaviest snatch we've seen at 102. Does anybody know that? We need to find that out because it's not been an Olympic category, so I'm not even sure we've seen. Have we even seen a 182 before? Of course, we've seen more than that in the 96s. We've almost seen that in the 89s at this point with Lee Dae-in's 180, but at 102, have we seen an athlete capable of 182 come into this category? I'm not sure. I think we're going to find the answer to that out soon, but a quick recap. The bronze has to have gone to De Vranbeck at 180 kilos because he made it. No, it's not. No. Pardon me. De Vranbeck and Jinju Song don't even get medals with 180 kilos. Nagisa Adilatili made it first at 181, so he gets the silver. Chempo Jen made it after him, so he gets the bronze, and then the gold is going to go to Jang Yong-hak with 182 kilos. That is insane. What a session. Reza Dadar ends up with 172 kilos, Rasulbekov at 164, he might be too far behind. We know he's got a clean and jerk on him, but I don't think he's got what he's going to need. He's 18 kilos behind the lead in the snatch. So even if Jang Yeon Hak only hits a 210 opener, he'd still need 229 kilos, which I think is going to be a bit of a stretch. But yeah, that was a very exciting snatch portion to this men's 102 kilo category. Of course, we've got the clean and jerks coming up. So for those wondering, where is Miso and Lesman? They pulled out. They decided not to compete, and I think I heard a rumor that Lesman was feeling a little bit injured, and then Miso, I have no idea. I'll send him a message after this and just find out. But they both weighed in. They've subjected themselves to random drug testing, and it will count as one of the competitions for the Olympics that they compete in, because to compete you essentially just have to, well, weigh in, basically. So that's what they have done. So I think I'm going to head off now, but I'll be back in just a few minutes. Feel free to stick any questions that you have, and just keep chatting in the live chat. And when I get back, we can get on with the clean and jerks. All right, I'm back. We have just over a minute now until the clean and jerks get underway. Looks like the opening attempt will be from De Vranbeck at 192, which is about right for him. He tends to be within 10 or 15 kilos between snatch and clean and jerk. Obviously, we didn't expect him to set a 15 kilo best in the snatch, but who knows? If he does a 15 kilo personal best in the clean and jerk, we should see 197 from him. A couple of athletes with 210 kilos, Jang-Yeon Hak and Reza Dedar, and then the heaviest opening attempt from Jinju Song, who is dangerous in the clean and jerk, and he's only 2 kilos behind the gold medalist in the snatch. It's insane that you can be 2 kilos behind a medalist and place 5th. The gold medalist, 2 kilos less, would be 5th. It's just insane. So the opening attempt is less than a minute away. I think from what I could work out, and again, if anyone else can find this out, let me know, but I think that 182 was the heaviest snatch we've seen from any 102 ever in this category. Obviously, in previous lighter categories, we've seen more weight, but in the 102 specifically, the most I can think of is Jinju Song snatching 181 kilos in 2019. And then I can think of maybe 3 more times I've seen a 102 snatch 180, and he's one of them. But I think we might have just seen the best ever snatch in this category. So things are now back underway, and as we expected, of course, it's De Vranbeck coming out with 192 kilos. This is only his 4th international competition. He had 3 last year, and now this is his first of 2023. Yeah, pretty solid. He's a very tall athlete, so he has a lot to do to get that bar overhead. But it's a big personal best for him. And who knows, maybe he will move up to the super heavyweight category one day. He's very, very tall. So he's going to have a tough time because he's realistically going to have to follow himself for every single lift here. Because with Chempo-Jen opening up at 203 kilos, he would need 203 as well. So, yeah, it's possible if he jumped to 198, I suppose, and then from there to 203, but that might be a touch too much for him. Although with the rate of progress he's been seeing, he might have been improved. He might have improved 5 kilos just since he's been at this competition at this point. So we have a lot of conversation going on again about the 89s. One of the comments is Tian only needs a 170 plus snatch and he's unbeatable. I'm not sure that's true, because if he snatched 172 yesterday, or 3 days ago, whenever it was, he still wouldn't have beaten Lee Dae-in, and he wouldn't have beaten Carlos Nassar. And Liu Hanhua, who competed yesterday, went for a world record clean and jerk, but could have lifted less and could have lifted 10 kilos less and beaten Tian Tao. I think Tian Tao has the highest potential, potentially, and his best performances, of course, throughout his career are unmatched by anyone who's currently competing at 89. But right now, I don't think it's quite as simple as him just making a 170 or 172 or 173 snatch. I think he needs to do a little bit more than that. I think there are too many strong clean and jerkers these days. It used to be that he could rely on the clean and jerk, but with Lee Dae-in making 216, you know, even right now, Antonio Pizzolato's got significantly higher total than Tian Tao. Even if Tian had made that snatch, he wouldn't have necessarily beaten him. Okay, second attempt now for De Vranbeck, 197. This is exactly what I said that I thought he would do, actually, 197. So we'll see if he makes it and if he has strength for anything more. Just so tough. It's like he meets the bar and then barely puts on any brakes when he racks it. So it just crashes him into the hole. And that change of direction back up. It's like his shoulders are still going down as his hips start to rise. He just collapses. So once he takes this third attempt, which is going to be, I mean, what's he going to need to do? He's going to need to be a little bit further back in his balance on the foot. And when he racks that bar, or at least just gets his elbows through, he needs to start putting in a little bit more tension so that he just doesn't crash and round over in the hole, because that's what took it out of him as he started standing up the clean. It was just, he'd already done so much work with his back. He's not particularly strong in the legs. Well, at least certainly his leverages are there for the pull rather than the stand. He just needs to tidy up the clean just to have enough strength to get up with it. But who knows, maybe you can do it. Let's see, 197 kilos, 15 kilo personal best after a massive 180 kilo snatch. It's better, and he has the highest sticking point, but it's just too much to get that jerk overhead. No, I think we could see him moving up a category again. He just needs to thicken out a little bit more, move up to 109. Even at 109, he's going to be tall. But we have just seen someone snatch 94% of their clean and jerk. So if someone asks you if anything interesting happened, many interesting things happened, but one of them definitely has to be the fact that we saw a 94% snatch, which does not happen very often. Okay, Chempo Jen, next athlete up. Of course, Chen is known far more for his snatch than his clean and jerk, but his best is 206 kilos, so this is a hefty opener. Hopefully this added weight will help him out. That clean certainly looked comfortable, as did the jerk. Oh, a little bit of movement. Oh, that's going to be a no lift. He just couldn't stabilize under it. What a waste of an... They gave it to him, but there's just no way. There's just no way that can count. Surely they're going to overturn that, or the jury's going to intervene. I mean, he even shook his head and looked frustrated. It wasn't a made lift. and yet he got 2 white lights. But they are reviewing it, and they're just going to make sure that he wasn't stable under the bar. Didn't look like he was. He just kept moving. Yeah, I mean... So let's just check what the scoreboard says. Yeah, no lift. So he's going to have to follow himself again. So while we wait for that, we can take a look at the scoreboard again and just see what's going on here. 208 from Razolbekov from Kurdistan. He's not going to be in the running for a medal in the total, but he definitely wants to be in the running for a clean and jerk medal. And he can be, because he's got one of the biggest clean and jerks on paper here. 217 kilos. He's made that twice now. And 216 kilos twice. In fact, his last 4 competitions, he's been over 215 in the clean and jerk. Jang Yeon Hak clearly must be feeling good, because he's put in a massive 210 opener, where his competition best is 206 kilos. Jin Song, 215. I think that will come down a little bit. His best is 220. Okay, so it looks like Chempojen has decided to go up, because we have Reza Dar coming out now at 204. Yeah, Chempojen has put in for 205. I guess he's sort of splitting the difference between what his first and second attempt would be. And watch for the power / squat jerk. Power on this occasion. 204, a little bit wobbly as well. Classic with his shoes undone. The Velcro never done up when he lifts in the clean jerk. And a really interesting comment in the chat about Liu Hanhua moving up to 102. Not that he's going to, but he could do. And that's actually a very interesting idea. Because if he moves up to 102 and becomes more competitive than Li Dayin or Tian Tao is at 89, it is possible that he could... Well, is it possible? Could he get the selection over them? Let's think about this. The best 102s are going to be snatching probably somewhere around the 190 kilo range. And clean and jerking maybe in the mid 220s. Now, it seems like the stream may have frozen, so we're going to see what we can do to get this back underway. So apologies to everybody. We're not sure what's going through. This is the feed that we've been sent through from the Asian Federation. We've got a whole Asian Championships without this happening. But I think we might be coming back. Just bear with us for a few seconds now. But I think we should be okay. There we go. So 205 kilos now for Chempojen. God, he stood that up so fast. He was a little forward, but he's up with it. And if you can just... Oh, he's done it again. He needs to... He really needs to not do this. Oh, Chempojen is giving us a heart attack here with this. He snatched so well. 181 kilos. What a massive personal best. So, anyway, back to that question about Liu Hanhua moving up to 102. Could it possibly work? It would only work for him if he'd be more likely to win than the Chinese at 89. So the best snatching is going to be around 190. That's going to be Lesman. He did 187 at 96. So at 102, we know that that's possible for him. Who else could snatch anywhere near that? I mean, supposedly, well, is there any chance that Ruslan Nurudinov could get back to those numbers? Probably not. So let's say the winning total is going to be around 190, 220. A 410 would win it. let's be real, 410 kilos would win the 102s, I'd have thought, in Paris. So if Liu Hanhua went up, we know he could snatch 180. I think he could probably clean and jerk 230 for sure. Because he can do, already he did 221 in training as an 89. So give him another 13 kilos of body weight. I think it's actually a good idea. It's possible. Whether or not he could make that jump, I'm not so sure. And whether he'd want to, I don't know either. But, you know, it would definitely throw a spanner in the works. It'd be interesting. I'd be interested to see what would happen if Liu Hanhua decided to just go to 102. Because the other Chinese ex-105 who became 109, Yang Zhe, we've not seen him compete now for... It's been 2 years, hasn't it? It was the Asian Championships in May 2021. We've not seen him since, so I don't even know if he competes anymore. Final attempt now for Chen Po-zhen. He's been unsuccessful in just recovering the jerk on his first 2 attempts. This time that looks better. If he could just stay still, he can. What a shame, because he looked capable of more. He looked like he could have done 210 if he'd have had an extra chance and he didn't mess up on the jerk recovery of those first 2 lifts. But that's a massive total for him. 181, 205. And really, we should be looking at what are the Olympic rankings for this, because obviously these athletes all want to get in the top 10 in the world. Right now, the number 1 total in this category is 397 kilos. The 10th highest total in the world was Wes Kitts at 379 kilos. But he's now been bumped out because we've just seen Chen Po-zhen move up into the top 10. Here's Razulbekov with his classic, very high hip start. And strong jerk. It's almost like a high hip deadlift, the way he pulls on it. It's very bizarre technique, but he's so strong. He's so powerful, he gets up with it. So yeah, right now the 5th highest total in this category is Razulbekov of 388 kilos. He did that in Bogota. And so probably that's the kind of range that these athletes are going to have to be aiming for when all is said and done in this category. It might even be higher because we have so many new athletes flooding in from the 96s and 102s. But certainly getting in the low 380s isn't going to be enough. Right now we just saw Chen Po-zhen get 386. That puts him at number 7, bumping Artyom Antropov down to 8. No one has yet totaled 400 in this category. It could happen today. I mean, I think there's definitely a world in which we see Jinju Song clean jerking 220 again, totaling 400 and being the number 1 ranked 102, which is insane that we could see Lesman moving ahead of, Jinju Song moving ahead of Lesman, moving ahead of Miso, moving ahead of someone like Rustam Nuruddinov. It's just going to be insane, this category, when the Olympics comes around. Jang Yeon-hak also looking to not only get in the top 10 in the world, but get a higher total than his teammate, Jinju Song, because only 1 Korean lift will be able to go in this category. He's opening now with a personal best, an international personal best of 210, 4 kilo personal best. Oh, multiple bounces to get up out with it. And the jerk just not there. Too wobbly overhead, and we've just seen it so many times with the Koreans. Some of them not had too much of an issue, but it just seems to happen too often on the men's side that we just see these sorts of jerks where they get the bar high enough and they're just wobbling. So Nagisa will now come out at 210 kilos, and again, this is massive for him. At the World Championships, he clean jerked 209. He was a 96 then, but still, this is a 1 kilo international best for him as he's bumped up to this 102 category. You know, I think there's a call as well for the fact that of the two Kazakh lifters, he's going to be the best, because Artem Antropov, who's going to be a 109 here, even though he's got the monster clean and jerk, I think Nagisa is just getting too good in the snatch. Just too strong. That was unbelievably comfortable. Oh my word. I mean, he could win this, actually. I think he might win this. Nagisa versus Jinju's Song, I think, is going to be what happens in this session. And we haven't even seen Jin open up yet. He's still... Actually, he's not holding true at 215. He's dropped down to 212. Because he knows that the battle is between him and Nagisa. And Nagisa outsnatched him by 1 kilo, so he needs to out-clean and jerk Nagisa by 2. So Nagisa just made the 210, so he's going for 212. That's the battle. The battle is Kazakhstan versus Korea. And I guess it could be this guy as well, Jang Hak. It would still be Kazakhstan-Korea, but I just don't know after that opening miss at 210. I don't know if he's got it. And again with the triple bounce. That looks better. I mean, it's a press out, but I think they're going to give it because they've been so lenient at this competition. It's unbelievable what's gone on. I mean, we have to be aware of how absurd this is. That he's getting that lift, and athletes at the European Championships or at the World Championships would not get a lift. I mean, this guy just did a push press at 210 kilos, and they gave it to him. I'm not a fan of the press out rule. In a perfect world, I would allow that, in my opinion. I mean, I don't mind if people don't agree with that. I think it's not an important opinion particularly, but the fact that he's allowed to do that and other athletes can't is just ridiculous. That's insane. Okay, Reza Dadar now, second attempt. 7 kilo jump to 211 kilos. This is still shy of his best. He made 213 at the World Champs. 219 though is his all-time best. Wow. He's just starfishing more and more. His feet getting wider and wider. So great lift there from Reza. Jinju's Song opener now. This is going to tell us a lot about the way that this competition is going to go. It should be him up. It looks like there's a bit of confusion as to who it is, but yeah, it should be Jin. He's actually bumped up now to 213, so he went down from 15 to 12 up to 13. This will... Okay, so the reason he's doing that is he recognizes that it's not just about him versus Nagisa, but technically he's got to be concerned about Jang Hak, who's 2 kilos up in the snatch. So he needs 3 kilos up on anything that Jang Hak does to beat him, and 2 kilos more than Nagisa to beat him. So hence this 213 opening attempt. This is first international clean and jerk since 2021 Worlds. Oh, that's a great way to open up the clean and jerk portion of your competition, and that puts him straight into the lead. 393 kilos. Right now we have 3 athletes over 390 kilos. Let's not forget the winning total at the World Championships was 397. These 3 athletes would already have taken silver had they been at that competition. Which is just... And also, Lesman's total, of course, was as a 96, which is crazy. In fact, the winning total in the 102s, of course, was 391 kilos. That was from Miso Hasona at the World Championships. So we actually have 2 athletes here who would have beaten him already and won the World Championships. And then Neges is drawn, and he has 2 attempts remaining. So we're seeing a much more impressive session than we did at the World Championships here. There's Rezulbekov. Very strong lift there as well. 214 kilos. He could set himself up for a personal best if he wants 218. I mean, he's going to put on the bar whatever he needs, basically, to get the gold in the clean and jerk, right? That's unless it gets, you know, way too high into the mid 220s, which I don't think it will, because I don't think anyone else can do it. I think he's basically just going to sit back now and take it. He only took that 214 because it was a kilo more than 213. He can't win. He can't medal in the total. Okay, so we basically have 3 athletes who are just putting in the weight that they need to move back up ahead of everybody. We have Nagisa, Jin Song, and Jang Yong-hak, the 2 Koreans and the Kazakh. Here comes Nagisa now. 6 kilo international best for him. This puts him at 396 in the total, which is a very big lead. This will force 217 from Jin Song. But look how easy I think he might make this. Nobody else can do it like that. But he's had to pause a little longer than he'd like. I mean, yes, there's some movement, but if Jang Yong-hak's getting his 210, there is no world in which Nagis is not getting that, and he gets it good. 3 white lights. Got a little bit nervous for Nagisa then. And that's impressive. 396. Jin Song's at 393. Jang Yong-hak's at 392, but Jang Yong-hak only has 1 attempt remaining, and he's going to come out for it now. 216 kilos. This will be a 6 kilo jump. This will put him at 298. So I think, yeah, 398. This will, if he makes it, he'll be the #1 ranked 102 in the world. Yeah, this session is really popping off. I mean, there's no guarantee that Lesman would have won this if he was competing. And certainly not Miso. Miso hasn't hit these totals in a little while. A 396, he's not done that in a couple of years. So, here he comes. He's currently in the bronze. This is for the lead on his final attempt at the competition. He's got gold in the snatch. This is for lead in the total. 216 kilos. This is a massive personal best for him since moving up from the 96s. Oh, it's going to spit him out the back. Just overpulled it a little bit. And ended up falling backwards. So, unfortunately, Jang Yong-hak is out, but he's in a medal position. He currently sits in bronze. What would these other athletes need to do? There are 2 others who are going to maybe look to move ahead of him, if that's possible. So, Reza Dadar is 9 kilos behind. So, Reza Dadar would need 221 to move ahead. That seems very unlikely, but I could see him going for it. Rezulbekov now at 217, his final attempt. This equals his best. He's done it twice, though. And this doesn't put him in a medal position, but it does move him into the gold in the clean and jerk. But he's still too far out in the total. It would give him 381 in the total, which would not be as much as his current ranking of. He's 5th in the world total, so that was with a 388. Very strong. Can he jerk it? Oh, he's a little bit off balance, but he's so strong overhead. That's insane. He's done that now 3 times. 216, 216, 217, 17, 17. That's his last 5 competitions. He's very consistent with his sort of weight. One day we're going to need to see him put on a 220. If he can snatch well, and then he needs to get in the 220s, I could see it. I could definitely see it. Okay, so Jinju Song. This is the battle. The battle is Jinju Song versus Nagisa Adilatuli. Jinju Song bumping up 5 kilos now. This will put him at 398, 2 kilos up on Nagisa. Nagisa would need 218, which he's put in, which is this same weight. And then Jinju Song will need 220. And then, of course, we have an Iranian who's just hanging out for the last attempt. Strong. It's good. He does have a nice jerk. Oh! He gets to overhead. It's a solid lift. You got to assume they're going to give it. I mean, yeah, his left arm went into full extension and then lost it a little bit, but it would be nitpicky to call him up on that. I've seen athletes get called on worse at the European champs, but the Asian champs seems to be a totally different thing right now. Plus, he's Korean, and you have to assume that in a home country competition, if you're ever going to get an advantage, it would be at this sort of competition. But I think that's a good lift. I think he deserves it, and he's got it. So 218, that puts him at 398. Jinju Song is the best 102 in the world currently since qualification for the Olympics began. But Nagisa says, "Hold my towel," and he flings it in the face of Jinju Song. No, he didn't. He passed it to his coach. But he's going to come out and have a go now at 219 because he wants a 400 kilo total, and he wants to force Jinju Song to 221, which has to be a bit of a psychological barrier for Jinju Song in some ways, because 220, well, you know, he's done that twice internationally, 3 times, I think. 221, he's never done that. Jinju Song has never made 221. So if Nagisa makes this, he gets the lead and he puts Jin into the worst position he could hope for. Oh, the clean looks so strong. What can he do? Oh my word. He made that look so much better than his second attempt. Nagisa Adilatuli from Kazakhstan is just on an absolute tear. The only athlete to go 6-6. He deserves it, and his training recently has been absolutely out of control. 181, 219, 400 kilos. Would an in-shape Lesman have beaten him? Would an in-shape Miso Osono have beaten him? I'm not sure. I think 400 kilos right now, it makes him the #1 ranked athlete, and I mean, it's just insane. He could genuinely be someone who might win the Olympics with this rate of progress. If he can snatch, put on a few more kilos and push up to that 405 range, that could be it in Paris. That could be it. Reza Dadar now making a massive 10 kilo jump. This to dislodge Jang Yon Hak from the bronze medal position at 392. This will give him 393. But 221 kilos is maybe a bit too much. It's 2 kilos more than he's ever made. And in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, this would be a 8 kilo personal best. This is very big. This is a personal best for a medal. Wow, and he's coming up with it, and his jerk on his second attempt looked very nice. But just not Not good enough there. Didn't have the height, never locked out on one of his arms. So Reza Dadar lives to fight another day. But don't worry, because, you know, it's very unlikely that he's not going to go to the Olympics, because he currently has the 4th highest total. He's totaled 390 kilos. He did that at the World Championships in Bogota in December. So he's in actually a very good spot. And so this is the last attempt of the competition. This is huge. This session, despite Lesman and Misa pulling out, this has turned out to be one of the most exciting sessions that we've seen at the championships. Just so very competitive. 221 kilos, a massive lift for a 102 kilo lifter. And this will put him at 401. This is it. This is to win the Asian Championships. Would this be the first Korean gold? I think it would. It's a new personal best if he makes it. It's been 18 months since he competed, and this would have been the perfect comeback competition. And a great little roll back after that miss, but unfortunately Jinju Song just didn't have the legs in him today, and so Kazakhstan is going to walk away with the gold. An unbelievable performance from Nagisa Adilatili there with that 181, that 219 kilo clean and jerk, 400 kilos in the total for Nagisa. Absolutely stunning stuff. He really does deserve that gold medal when you put in a 6-6, all new personal best performance like that. And then in the silver medal position, Jinju Song, 180, 218. These two lifters are our 2 best 102s in the world right now. With those 2 totals, they take the top 2 spots in the Olympic rankings. Jang Yong-hak, even though his total would have put him way up into the top 10 in the world, he's not going to be there because only one athlete from each country can be in the top 10, and Jinju Song has got the spot. 386 from Chempo Zhen. I mean, I think we've got 3 new athletes enter the top 10 now who weren't previously in it, which means that 8th, 9th, and 10th place athletes are now bumped out of the top 10. As is Artyom Antropov, because he's been overtaken by his teammate. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 have all been removed. So we're looking at Antropov, we're looking at Marcos Ruiz, Homerenyo, and Wes Kitts, now all out of the top 10 for the Olympic ranking, to be replaced by Chempo Zhen, Jinju Song, Nagisa Adilatili, and who am I missing? Nagisa, Jin, Chen, someone else that I just mentioned, but I can't think who. So anyway, a very, very exciting end to this men's 102 kilo session. We'll keep the live stream going so that you can watch the medal ceremony, but from me, that's going to be it. I'll be back tomorrow with commentary, but we do still have the men's 109s. We get to see Artyom Antropov, who's looking very strong at the clean and jerk, and we get to see the Olympic champion and ex-world record holder, Ruzin Nurudanov. That kicks off in half an hour. Tomorrow, I'll be back with commentary for the women's plus 87s, the strongest woman in the world, Li Wenwen, and then the men's plus 109s, where we have an incredible battle between some of the strongest men in the world. So I will see you all there.
우리 진주 실내체육관입니다. 2023 진주 아시아 역도 선수권 대회 남자 102kg급 경기 저희는 이제부터 시상식을 보내드리겠습니다. 자, 우리 진윤성 선수와 장현학 선수가 아주 멋진 모습을 보여줬는데요. 진윤성 선수는 용상과 합계에서 은메달 2개를 따게 됐고, 장현학 선수는 인상에서 금메달, 합계에서는 동메달을 획득했습니다.
그렇습니다. 우리 그 장현학 선수 인상에서 금메달을 획득하면서
예.
자, 아주 좋고 기분 좋게 출발을 시작했고요.
그렇습니다.
자, 그리고 우리 진윤성 선수 180kg로 5위를 머물렀지만 본인의 181kg보다 안 되는 180kg이기 때문에 최선을 다한 겁니다. 그리고 용상에서 218kg를 해서 2위를 차지했고요.
예.
그리고 합계에서 398kg. 그래서 또 2위를 차지해서 우리가 이번에 나온 거는 금하나, 은두개, 동하나 이렇게 우리 선수들이 획득을 하였습니다.
그렇습니다. 먼저 남자 102kg 인상 시상식이 진행이 되겠습니다. 자, 인상에서는 우리 장연학 선수가 가장 높은 곳에 설 예정입니다. 자, 현재는 이제 5명의 선수가 상을 받기 위해서 나와 있는 상황입니다. 장현학 선수가 예비 신부와 장인 장모가 모두 경기장을 찾아줬다고 하는데 인상에서 정말 자랑스러운 모습을 보여줬습니다.
그렇습니다. 우리 장현학 선수 182kg로 더군다나 96kg급 선수가 102 체급으로 올라와서
예.
당당히 금메달을 땄다는 게 아주 그냥 자랑스러운 일이고요.
그렇습니다.
그리고 여자친구분하고
예.
그리고 장모님이나 장인어른한테 큰 선물을
예.
안겨준 건 아닌가 이렇게 생각합니다.
그렇습니다. 먼저 인상 동메달에 대한 시상이 진행되고 있습니다. 대만의 첸 포젠 선수가 인상 동메달을 따냈고요. 인상에서 이 누르기사 선수가 은메달을 획득했습니다.
자, 선수들 이렇게
예.
시상기 때에 올라갔을 때 가장 뿌듯할 겁니다.
인상
네.
금메달 대한민국의 장연학 선수입니다. 체중 증량에 성공을 하면서 102kg 인상 시상식 대에서 가장 높은 곳에 서고 있습니다.
그렇습니다. 장현학 선수 연습 때도 최고 기록은 많이 지금 뭐 용상도 215에서 220까지 들었다고 하니까요.
예, 이분들이 바로 여자친구와 장인 장모.
그렇군요.
예. 얼마나 자랑스럽겠습니까?
장현학
예.
선수 행복해할 것 같습니다. 지금요.
아니, 메달 따지 못하면 진주에서 올라가지 않겠다 이렇게 포부를 밝혔는데 금메달을 획득한 우리 장현학 선수 진심으로 축하드립니다.
장현학 선수 진짜 축하하고요.
예.
그리고 같이 함께 또 열심히 뛰어주는 우리 진윤성 선수 다 같이 고생 많이 했고요.
예.
메달 딴 거에 대해서 진심으로 축하의 말씀을 드립니다.
진윤성 선수는 용상에서 은메달을 따냈습니다. 정말 멋진 모습을 보여줬던 진윤성 선수고요. 용상에서 218을 성공시켰습니다. 그리고 용상에서 카자흐스탄의 누르기사 선수가 정말 어마어마한 존재감을 보여줬습니다. 219를 드러내면서 금메달을 차지하게 됐습니다.
네, 용상에서 기록이 조금 계속 좋아지고 있었고요.
예.
그리고 표정도 점점 더 좋아지는 표정으로 경기를 마쳤거든요.
예.
아주 대단한 선수로서 이번에 102kg급에서 딱 면모를 보여줬습니다.
그렇습니다. 이제 합계에 대한 시상식이 진행되고 있습니다. 대한민국의 장연학 선수가 인상 금메달, 합계에서는 동메달을 획득했습니다. 한 번에 번쩍 들이삐라 장연학 선수가 김해 사위로서 아주 든든한 모습, 아주 자랑스러운 모습을 보여줬습니다.
네, 장현학 선수, 네, 지금 많은 기분을 지금 만끽하고 있고요.
예.
또 하나 우리 진유 선수, 자, 양쪽으로 우리 선수들이 서로 행복을 느끼고 서로 다독거려주고 기쁨을 만끽하는 것 같습니다.
대한민국 역도의 간판 진윤성 선수가 102kg급에서 은메달을 차지했습니다. 은메달 2개를 따낸 진윤성 선수 진심으로 축하드립니다. 자, 그리고 카자흐스탄의 누르기사 선수가 금메달을 따냈습니다.
네, 카자흐스탄의 누르기사 선수, 자, 금메달 2개 당당히, 그리고 은메달, 인상에서 은메달 총 아주 당당하게 아주 올라섰습니다.
그렇습니다. 이 합계목의 400kg 대단한 기록을 작성해낸 누르기사 선수였습니다.
그렇습니다.
자, 이제 진주 실내체육관에는 카자흐스탄의 국가가 연주되겠습니다. 2023 진주 아시아 역도 선수권 대회 남자 102kg급 카자흐스탄의 누르기사 선수가 금메달을 차지했고요. 진윤성 선수가 합계 은메달, 그리고 장현학 선수가 합계 동메달을 따냈습니다. 자, 우리 선수들 정말 본인이 준비했던 것들을 이 4m 사방의 경기대 아래에서 모두 잘 쏟아냈습니다. 합계 가장 높은 곳에 서지는 못했습니다만 우리 선수들 후회 없는 경기를 잘 펼쳐냈습니다.
네, 그렇습니다. 우리 선수들 이번에 기록 지금 성적이 나온 거는
예.
본인들이 했던 그대로 다 나왔고요. 자, 다른 선수가 잘 한 거고요. 자, 그 선수 잘한 선수한테도 큰 박수 보내드리고요.
예.
자, 앞으로 남아있는 항저우 아시안 게임 그리고 2024 파리 올림픽까지 최선을 다해서 성적을 더 내주길 기대하겠습니다.
그렇습니다. 아시안 게임에서는 더 높은 곳에 서고 파리 올림픽에는 과연 어떤 선수가 또 나갈 수 있을지,
그렇죠.
그 점도 선의의 경쟁을
그럼요,
펼치면서
그럼요.
두 선수가
네네.
더욱 더 발전할 수 있기를 기대하겠습니다. 자, 저희 중계 방송은 여기서 마무리를 짓고요. 계속해서 남자 109kg 경기는 6시부터 진행이 될 예정입니다. 아울러 내일 중계 방송은 오후 1시 여자 87kg 이상급 손영희 박혜정 선수가 경기에 나서고요. 자, 이후에 조성빈 선수도 102kg 이상 경기를 펼칠 예정입니다. 내일도 좀 기대가 되죠?
그렇습니다. 내일도 우리 박혜정 선수하고 손영희 선수 좋은 결과 나올 거라고 기대하고요.
예.
그리고 우리 선수들도 지금 컨디션이 최고로 많이 올라섰기 때문에 내일 1시 경기 시청자 여러분 많이 봐주시면 감사하겠습니다.
네, 내일도 많은 관심과 응원 부탁드리겠습니다. 2023 진주 아시아 역도 선수권 대회 8일차 남자 102kg급 중계 방송은 여기에서 마무리 짓겠습니다. 지금까지 도움 말씀에 2002년 부산 아시안 게임 금메달리스트 송종식 해설위원과 함께했습니다. 저는 백근곤이었습니다. 함께해 주신 여러분 고맙습니다.